Hello everyone, I'm Sudhanshu from Azure Developer Community and I welcome you all to this Season of Agents session, a virtual event dedicated to exploring the dynamic world of intelligent agents, automation, and the future of AI powered productivity. Today I have with me Vilsi Jain ma'am. She's a senior software engineer and an Azure Developer Community organizer. Now, handing over the stage to Vilsi ma'am. Can take over.
Okay, hey everyone. Thank you, Azure Developer Community. Thank you, Sudhanshu, for having me. Okay, let me present my screen. I think Sudhanshu got. Okay, hopefully my screen is visible to you. Okay, great. So today, let me go towards the generative AI and software development. But before that, what we will be going through is basically we are understanding there are a lot of agents in the world, right? We are having that generative AI, we are having the getting the chat GPT, cloudy, and everything is there in the market. But how we can use it in the best way, how they are working, we will be understanding more on that, right? So first of all, me, I am a senior software engineer, Google Movement Technical Ambassador, Flutter Zephyr organizer, Microsoft Azure Developer Community organizer since last been 4 years, and it's been a great journey. With overall, you can say me a tech enthusiastic, right? So AI is always sounds good to us, right? No doubt, like is AI good or not or whatever, like because it's helping a lot. It's changed the market a lot. Uh, Basically, a very great ease for the engineers to do work with it, right? Now, okay. So this is sort of like generative AI. It's we can say generative plus AI. Now, what is basically generative AI? We can say that a model that can create a new data instance such as images, text, or a code, and that we can say resemble input data, whatever the input is given. They were trained, and it mechanized to not only mimic it, do not only give the same data whatever the trainer provide, but also innovate the data. That's the main difference we can say in a generative AI, right? So what ChatGPT is doing is ChatGPT is getting a lot of data from the internet, right? They are getting a lot of data from the Google. They are getting from every place, but they how they are innovating it, they are bringing with the new answers and everything. So how it is working, that's most important. And this video is particularly like you will be understanding a lot like how it is working, and we will also see how the agents is helpful, right? So GANs, which is generative AI and generative adversarial network. What is this basically? Input, the generative model, and output. Understand in a very basic way. In ChatGPT, we give our input, it do something inside, it give a very good output outside. It bring like a sweet dish on the plate, which is really helpful, which complete your task in a few seconds. Earlier, what happened? Our engineer sits for a lot of days, 10 days, 5 days to make a form, make a site, and everything. Right now, if you just type some of the letters in English, and it will be giving an input, and it do something inside, and give output. We will be understanding what it particularly do there, right? No, let's understand in the brief. Now you will be saying like, मुझे क्या करना है? Like I already have a chat GPT, I can put that, and but as an engineer, you need to understand it a lot. Like what is it is going in the backside. What's this particularly part of generative model is doing, right? So yes, so GANs are like a supervised learning, we can say supervised learning, like creating or a fake type of thing. Now let's understand in a basic way, right? We have some of the sample images, we have a sample noise, which is like sample noise, we can say the generated things and everything. We give it generated generator is like DN. which generate a face, and if we give a sample of the images, it give a real face. Now the comes word come is discriminator, deep convolution network, DCN. What is this basically? uh, uh, and like it have a like a real sample and a fake sample, it have a collaboration of both of the thing, and it generates something which is real or maybe a fake image, right? Hope you are understanding it. Basically we have a data of a sample images, we have some random noise which we can say like which is generated into our DN, and then we get a real face which is really actually there, and with the generative face what happening, like we have a trend going of generative AI, sorry, ghibli trend is going in a very high peak. What ghibli is doing is we are just giving them an image, right? And it's some sort of converting into sort of a Japanese cartoon, or sort of a Ghibli. I don't know what particularly it comes from, Japanese, Korea, or where, but it is doing changing your face in a cute manner, right? So these all are coming with the sample images, and even like if I talk about ChatGPT, Grook, Gemini, everything, everyone wants the data, a large collection of a data, because the if you know like if I ask something on the chat gpt, is always ask like or dislike, so it get a lot of feedback, and according to that feedback it give us a proper improvement. That's the thing which is going on, right? Even if you say ask ChatGPT what who is Vilsi, if particularly ChatGPT know who is Vilsi, but if the ChatGPT given some detail in a wrong manner, like if it is given like Vilsi is studying in class 12th, but then the ChatGPT have given like Vilsi win the 10 hackathons, right? So that particular detail you can make it right ki no, Vilsi is like now a senior software engineer, so it will be always remembering that thing, right? So like when multiple people answered that wrong, it's wrong, right? It understand from that part. So it's always said like it's always learning. ChatGPT is also in a learning phase, like we all are in the learning phase, same ChatGPT is also in a learning phase, we can say. Now we have large language models which we call LLMs, the training data. So what that are basically, so if we talk about, the internet contains plenty of open source code, but in the GitHub, GitLab, Stack Overflow, in a like whole Google is covered with the data, and a lot of things are there. So what this LLMs are doing is they are learning from that, right? They are understanding from that. Let me remove this. Okay. Okay, so what happening is like they are just fetching the data. That's the main thing. We can't always rely on the GitHub part. Like whatever the chat GPT fetch, we can rely on the GitHub. I'm saying that the part which the chat GPT have fetched from somewhere, because they have different types of data coming, right? So we can't always rely on the data which we are getting from the chat GPT. That's most important part. The same which I have written, like intellectual property rights can be there, because like they are fetching from the GitHub, GitLab somewhere, and maybe it's someone's else code. And because that's the main reason most of the companies deny to their employee to don't use ChatGPT, because the ChatGPT takes the data from somewhere, and that data can come with the intellectual property rights, and that can make a big issue. So do like that's the thing, always try to make your project open source, but always use a proper license. That's important. I can show you like whenever you go to the GitHub, let me show that. So if I go to GitHub, I can show you my any of my repo. Uh, okay. So see, I have taken a proper MIT license. So if you have a good project or something, take a MIT license, take any good license. They have more than like literally a lot of license, and they are free. So it's nothing like that. You just need to, whenever you click on add files, click on license, you will be getting a lot of options there. Or I think you can get it from settings. I'm sorry, you will be getting it up from settings or somewhere. You can just check it, and you can easily get that MIT license या कोई सा भी license. They will checking the code properly, and you can then use it, right? but just you need to make sure that your code is always correct. You are like, you are not even you are have not fetched it from somewhere, right? Okay, let me present it again. So let's come to the next page. Language, large language models for the code. Now we have, and we have GitHub Copilot, we have Azure AI, we have like Google AI, AWS, Open AI Codex. Like पता नहीं कितना ही like it's in the market, right? So what we need to do is because like every engineer have their own perspective to go with. Someone like ChatGPT, someone like Gemini, someone like Grook. सबके like they have a different choice, but these are basically the models which they are using behind, like OpenAI behind the, like ChatGPT behind OpenAI. So like everyone is working with that, right? So do you really think like these tools are a magic tools for everyone? I think like the ChatGPT, Tabline, GitHub Copilot, Bard, any like any numbers are there. So I think like I would say as an engineer, these are really a magic tools, but somewhere they have a very pros and cons, both of the sides, right? We are seeing that in the market already, because like earlier the person who needs to learn everything, who needs to implement, now they can do that work very fastly. That's a very big change for it, right? So how it work? So first of the thing, we have the public code and the text on the internet, which I have shown in the GANs. So like it's OpenAI Codex model, and then we have a GitHub Copilot service. So it provide editor context, provide suggestion, improve suggestion, which we like. If you know, like GitHub Copilot is now free for the VS Code, so that's something which is really very good. Even if you're a student, you should use it, because it will be giving you a very good suggestions there for your code, how you can improve that and everything, right? So if I talk about the future of future of AI assistant software development, we can say for a short term, it basically improving with the productivities, like the same thing which I mentioned, which was taking 10 to 15 days. Now it's just a thing of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour to set up, and everything is very great. You need Earlier you required 5 6 engineers for the same thing. Now like two engineer, one engineer can do it very perfectly. So that's why the thing is changing a lot, you can say. Now like AI writes boiler code, like the basic codes, documentation is done by the AI. Even the testing is done by the AI nowadays. So it's improving a lot, right? And we have AI as an instructor providing the feedback, explaining the code, right? Earlier it took a time to ask manager, mentor to explain the code, write a documentation. Now it's everything is a very good way, right? Now, if I talk about the long term, another language abstraction, a new type of compiler, right? From a natural language to the specification of the code, we can say, right? Now, I have covered a lot of things about the AI. AI is good. AI is taking less time. AI is writing your documentation. It's helping you a lot in studying. Even if you are preparing for something, you can go with it. But there are a lot of disadvantage of it. First, which I mentioned there, was if you take any code and it have that high risk of it took a code which is protected, right? Lack of control and understanding. It's true, because it can't always take a whole generation leak code, right? It can take which is public for everyone, right? There is a limited creative and innovation. That's something very important, because if you want to make any logo, you will be thinking in a very perspective manner. It may happen like AI is making really very creatively code and everything, but still the human brain is seeing everything, right? They have a lot more innovations. So somewhere it is a limited with the creativity, dependency and risk, which I told you. Skill up degradation, that's one of the most important point. And user acceptance and adoption, the thing I don't think you need to I need to teach you about that part. What is AI? We can say AI is a creation of our software that imitates human behavior. Now what happens in that? We have two things: machine learning, AI, learning from the data. That's supervised learning sort of thing. Like whatever data we have given, we have trained it and we got something. Now what AI particularly is doing is, AI have a lot of data. It's mixing that, it's understanding from the market and giving you something. It's not a trained data. We haven't said that like अगर तुमसे ये पूछे, if I ask what is C++, it will always give you the same answer. It will be giving you a different answers. Like the concept will be same, the manner may be a different thing, right? It may give you some extra points. That's most important part. It gives you a extra points, like how it is working, like what C++, how you can study. It will be giving you extra points now. So that's something sort of a AI. We can play chess with the AI. So it's a mental ability. We can't do that like ki pehle se fix. There is nothing a fixed chance what you will be doing that. Fixed case, right? Now we have a lot of Azure services in the market, and Azure, I think I particularly used it. And I would say like every platform, even if I go with the Google, I go with the AWS, everyone using their own services. Now, why I mention about the Azure services, not just because I am speaking on Azure developer community, because I particularly use that part. And mostly if we talk OpenAI, OpenAI is really like if I go for the code part, I always try to use ChatGPT, Cloud, like that. So they have their own services with the Azure AI, Azure Open AI. So you can try that. Azure have literally a lot of services in the market. You just like listed here, and Azure Open AI services, Azure AI services, generative AI services give you a lot help. Like even if you are making something, as we like the topic mentioned, like the different agents. So as we talk, like it's making a lot of things. If we are making some of the tool, you can use Azure AI behind that. If you are a new joinee in the Azure, you will be of course getting a credits. Okay, so it will be free for you. You not need to require a card for it. Okay, because if you go for the another platform, you need to have a card. You need to have a particular amount. But in the Azure, they give a free starting $100, $150 according to the student or a professional thing. So you can just try that out if you are making any business, if you are making any tool, you can try to integrate it, because like it will be really helpful. Even I used that, it was giving a perfect answer and perfect working for my app particularly. Even we have a different type of, it's not always like AI is working for the text, AI is working for the speech, which for we have speech services, we have a lot of speech services, right? We have like language services, translator, even we can say about English to Hindi, or translating in a different way, translating the speech and language understanding, right? That, and we have images, we have Dali, right? For the images, we have lot more for the changing images, which we I mentioned Ghibli art is going on. So like for the image, for the language, for the text, speech, translator, for the files, documentation, like now it's for everything. So this particularly part is the like a service name which you have in the Azure. So you can just test it that out. And for the OpenAI which I mentioned, you can go with the Azure OpenAI service, right? Now the factors and the responsible AI, it is very important if you are using like AI models in your anything, like in your app, in your web. So it's most important you should have the fairness, reliability, and the safety. If the users is asking anything on your app, anything on your interface, that should be a very safe thing. Privacy and the security, because if we giving something, we are asking something, it may happen, it's very important, and it's very secure documents. Inclusiveness, transparency, we should always make sure that your data is safe. Accountability, like if I'm changing documents to something, I should always make sure that document is very safe, very private, very transparent to the user, right? Now, what is Copilot if I say? So, if it's not a magic, then what we can say? Because like now we can easily, like in the VS Code itself, we can use that, right? As you also know, like we can easily work with it. Now, if I talk about the GitHub Copilot, we can enable in VS Code. We can enable in like Visual Studio, JetBrains, IDE. Like these three, fours are listed now. Maybe some of them are increased, but most of the developers are using it, because in JetBrains we have PHP Storm, we have data grip, all of the things are there, right? So you can just check that out. Like VS Code is one of the best for the GitHub Copilot. It's already giving in a free for the VS Code, right? So you, if you want, you can just check that out, right? The main features of it is like auto fill repeated code, converting comments to the code, show alternative, suggest you a lot, right? Write a whole file. Even now, GitHub Copilot is very perfect to write a code, like a whole file code, right? So you can see, like I just write a like this screenshot was taken by me, so I just write a simple write a binary search algorithm, it written it very well, right? Then run the functions and everything. So installation, for the installation you can take the GitHub student developer pack, and even you can directly go to the VS Code, it will be just giving you for free. It will be not asking, just you have that extension GitHub Copilot, just click on the install and it will be like it's free. You just need to sign up, you just need to be on GitHub. Like developer are using GitHub Copilot a very a lot, right? You like, we have a mention number, I will be not reading it for now, right? Okay, so if I talk about the generative AI, like we have a different phase. We have analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, maintenance. I think each and every part from the starting to analysis to maintenance, we can use AI. Just let's see how. If I talk about the analyze, user story generation, analyze is sort of a ideation phase, right? Where you can ask about the ideas, design. You can ask about the design, how I can make my app, how I can make X, Y, like whatever you want to make your app, or how we can develop. You can go for the code generation, can go for the debugging, explaining code, improving the consistency of the code, code translation if you are thinking to shift from one language to different, and test case writing. This is something really great. And deployment, for the deployment, first thing you need to do, but if you want to ask something, if you want to automate something, you can go for the AI purpose, right? Maintenance, you can always, for the document generation, AI assistant support and everything, you can go with that, right? So I think hopefully you are getting it a lot. And I will be just crisping it out. If you have any questions, you can just drop in the comments, right? Maybe in the live comment. I know it's been already 10 p.m., so it's a bit difficult for you all to be there. But you, what you can do, if you want to ask me something, you can just DM me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. So not on the Instagram, sorry, LinkedIn or Twitter. It's Vilsi Jain on all three, right? So you can just DM me there, and you can even comment out in the same video, and I will make sure that I reply to all the comments if you have any doubt, anything about generative AI or something. So this video is bit shorter because we need to cover generative AI, but we can have a more longer videos to, like, let's say about to discuss everything. Like we can more go deep dive towards which I covered. Let me share. If you need to know about like more gens and everything, we can even have a separate session for it. But for now, I think this is very good to understand, to have the basic understanding of everything. And like I think whatever you are using, like even you are using Chat GPT, even you are using anything, you need to make sure that it is in a particular way. You need to be a secure, whatever you are sharing, you should make sure that I'm sharing a right thing, right? Because it's really very important. Like do not share your data directly, because even like we know everything is secure. Most of the like open AI, most of them are like secured a bit, but still like there are a lot of AI now, and maybe they are storing your data, right? Because like every day new AI is coming or new innovations is coming. So you need to make sure that everything is going right, and whatever you are sharing with the AI is something really very important, right? So this is my take on that, right? Still, like having doubt, just drop me in the chat, just drop me in on the LinkedIn, Twitter, or in the comment section, we'll cover it, don't worry. And the far more most important thing is like why I teach you about like how it particularly working, because like you need to understand as a mind of an engineer, as mind of a developer, you should know like how it is working. Because now we can see like the sampling, the generative AI, generative noise. That's why it's important to always give the feedback on the chat GPT, on the bard, everywhere, bec- open AI, so they can understand it. The main important thing is Azure AI, which I covered out. So you can must try the Azure AI. They have a different services out there, right? So you can just check that out. The services are really something which I even used in my projects, and it's even still running. They give you $100 for free, right? You just need to generate the API directly use in your like product, and it's good to go. And they are really giving the great outputs. So it's important to just and check what is your requirement. Because like there are so many clouds, like if I go about the digital ocean, Google AI, and many of them, you need to choose which is best for you, how it works for you. If you're a student, go for Azure, so get a credits. And whatever you are using, I mention it again, check what, make sure about the safety, privacy, and security, and the transparency with the users. So thank you so much for the like today's session. And like if you need to ask anything, you can just comment out, right? And just make sure to read always what's coming new in the market, because that's most important part. Like everything every day innovation is coming, right? Thank you so much, bye.